And we meet again. Welcome to Road to 2027. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Interesting week it has been. Osun State goes to the polls this Saturday, August 15. And of course, 14 candidates prepare to contest the governorship election. But while the political contest has, largely centered around the incumbent, Demola Adeleke of the Accord Party, Bola Oyebamiji of the APC, and Najim Salam of the ADC, concerns beyond the candidates are also shaping the final days of the election. Now, from reports of pre-election violence and voter inducement to concerns about the safety of voters and electoral materials, attention is now turning to how the process itself will unfold on election day. INEC and security agencies are making their final preparations, and election observers are monitoring development across the state. What should voters expect when they head to the polls? That's one critical question. Now, this is Road to 2027, and today we take a closer look at the Osun governorship election, the issues surrounding the process, and what will matter the most on election day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. One thing you have to know is that the Road to 2027 program is not just about Osun. It's about the election 2027 generally. And of course, today we're also going to be giving you top headlines from Osun State, and also what is happening on the political scene generally. Now, so we just days to the Osun governorship election. Sensitive electoral materials have arrived in Osogbo as preparations intensify ahead of Saturday's poll. INEC says it has a pool of more than 30,000 NYC members, from which ad hoc personnel will be selected for the election. The commission says 2.34 million voters are registered in the state. Meanwhile, more than 25,000 security and anti-graft personnel have been deployed across Osun as authorities move to secure the election. That's coming from Osun State. And when it has to do with general scene, article calls for independent beavers audit ahead of 2027. The former vice president, and of course he is the ADC presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, is calling for an independent audit of the bimodal voter accreditation system ahead of 2027 elections. He follows reported mock accreditation failures during preparations for the Osun election, and comments by an INEC ICT official that Beavers currently operates on Android 10. Now, Atiku questioned the use of an operating system that reached its end of life in 2023. Yeah, that's a bit funny, but warning of possible cybersecurity and operational risks. Let's now move on to our third story, where the EU is denying withdrawing from Nigeria's 2027 election observation. So, for those who were a bit worried, well, the European Union has dismissed reports that it is withdrawing from observing Nigeria's 2027 general elections. Now, the EU delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS says it will instead deploy an electoral experts mission comprising between 2 and 4 independent experts. The clarification follows reports claiming the EU declined INEC's invitation because of security concerns and the treatment of its observers after the 2023 election. The EU says it accepted INEC's invitation and formally communicated its decision in July. Moving on to our next story, police plan AI and intelligence-led security strategy for 2027. Well, it's a good cause, some might say. The Nigerian Police Force is preparing a new security roadmap for the 2027 general elections. Now, senior police officers, security experts, and other stakeholders will meet in Imo State in September to examine emerging threats and develop strategies for election security. The discussions will focus on intelligence-led policing, police community partnerships, digital technology, and artificial intelligence, with particular attention to protecting voters, candidates, and electoral officials and election materials. Well, what I would say is I wish them the best of luck. Moving on, the ADC introduces Code of Conduct for elected officials. That is, the African Democratic Congress has unveiled a new Code of Conduct for public office holders who emerge on its platform in the 2027 elections, contained in a document called the Orange Book. The guidelines set out principles on accountability, ethical leadership, and responsible public service. The party says the initiative is aimed at addressing public dissatisfaction with political leadership and restoring trust in elected representatives. So these are some of the major updates we have for you when it comes to what is happening in the election and political scene ahead of 2027 and of course for Osun State. But today on the show we are focusing on the August 15 election, where the Osun people will go out to cast their vote. One thing Nigerians must know is that this is the last test that the INEC have to prove their capacity ahead of 2027. Now, they go to the polls, and of course, 2.3 million registered voters expected to participate across the state's 30 local government areas and 3,763 polling units. But beyond the contest for the governorship, concerns over security and the credibility of the process have continued to shape the final days of the election. Now, reports of political violence, if you're out there following the stories, you will definitely see for yourself. Vote buying and voter intimidation have raised concerns, while the reported theft of permanent voter cards at INEC Distribution Center in Ondoti has sparked fears about voter participation. And then just days ago, the election, the viral video involving APC Senator Francis Vadausi generated controversy after comments he made in Yoruba were interpreted as a call for violence. I probably don't want to use the exact word he used, against supporters of the Accord Party. Let's look at the video.
So, at the day, at the one suffering, Titi the guy, but Tia Badi one, and you.
Well, one would say spur of the moment, you say things you're not supposed to say. Now, the senator was subsequently invited by the police and has maintained that his comments were taken out of context, saying he was referring to defeating the Accord Party at the polls. As those concerns persist, INEC says it is fully prepared for Saturday's election. Now, we're going to be having two important conversations today. Let's move on very quickly. We're going to be having two important conversations today. One is going to be with the representative program lead for Yiaga Africa. She's going to be joining us virtually. And another conversation, we're going to be joined by the rec over in Osun State. So very quickly, I am being informed that we have our first guest, which is Tonia on the line, program lead for Yiaga Africa. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
It's so great to have you join us. How is Osun State this evening?
Osun is fine. Everything is it's few hours to the election.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So let's talk about you got to Osun State for some days now. what has been the atmosphere in preparation to the election? We're seeing so many reports, violence. We're talking about theft. We're talking about, disturbance of peace in some areas right there in the state. From your perspective, since you got into town, what have you observed? What have you noticed in preparations for the elections?
Yeah, thank you very much. The Osun people, the community, everywhere in the town, you can see that people are ready and there is preparation by all stakeholders ahead of the elections. The INEC are in full gear. They have having series of stakeholders engagement, distribution of their kits. They have completed the trainings for all their ad hoc staff. And today they have commenced the distribution of sensitive materials to the various RATs. For the other political parties, today is the last day for their political campaigns, and so everyone is trying to tidy up things and make sure that the citizens come out to vote for them on election day. And also the security agencies, especially the police and other partners, are also working hard to see how people and the process will go smoothly without any security issues. We've had series of challenges pre-election period on different issues and incidences of violence and harassment, but at this point, everything is quite in place, and the security are already deploying into the states, and the other stakeholders are ready ahead of the election. And for me, by my observation, everything is in good shape for the elections.
Okay, all right. I am also aware that we also have the resident electoral commissioner of Osun State, who's also joining us virtually, the passing of Ariel Rufus. He's also going to be joining us this evening virtually. So great to have you, sir. Good evening, sir. It's so great to have you join us.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. This is not the electoral commissioner. I am just head of department of administration and publicity.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining us. Sincere apologies for that. All right. So before we move on to the Yiaga program lead, I want to ask you some questions very briefly, sir. What is your general assessment of this particular election, talking about the Osun election? This is a very deciding election ahead of 2027. How prepared do you think that the INEC is right now for this election?
Thank you very much. We are fully prepared for the election. All our adult personnel are trained already. The PO, the SPOs, they are already trained. And all our non-sensitive material are already deployed to the local government and back to RA and village level. Now, the security personnel are fully on ground. Prior before this time, we have already had just engagement with women, youth, people with disability. And at that level, we have done a lot of sensitization. So people are fully aware and they are ready to come out Saturday and cast their ballot to the candidate of their choice.
All right. I want to ask you this very directly. Are you looking forward to a very peaceful and non-violent election come Saturday, looking at what has been happening before now? Are you looking forward to a very peaceful and very credible election come Saturday?
Yes, we are looking forward to a very credible election. As far as the peace concerned, there are a lot of presence of security personnel in Osun State presently. So even without, there is a kind of a consolidation that there can't be any crisis, there can't be any violence anyway. We have military personnel, we have paramilitary personnel fully on ground there in Osun State, everywhere. So there can't be violence anywhere. And as far as we are concerned as a commission, we are prepared to deliver on a very credible, free, fair, and even inclusive election come Saturday, 15th August 2026.
All right, sir. I would move away from you very briefly and come back to Tonia, the program lead for Yiaga Africa. Tonia, are you there?
I'm with you. I can hear you.
All right. I want to ask you a very direct question, because I know that Yiaga Africa was involved in 2022, when it comes to the same Osun election. And one might want to say that so many things have changed from 2022 till now, right? And I know that some observers were deployed in 2022. The numbers of the observers we have right now from Yiaga, is it more than the numbers we had in 2022? And if it's more, what are the activities that your organization is looking for? What are the metrics you're going to be judging this particular election on? I would like to hear that.
Oh, thank you very much. This Osun election or Osun off-cycle election is always a simulation for general election, especially with the new Electoral Act 2026. A lot of new provisions has been introduced by the new provision, like the transmission of election results and other new provisions that have been added, as well as the usage of the downloadable PVCs. So for us at Yiaga Africa, we are going to look into how these new provisions of the law are going to be implemented, because it's a model for us towards the 2027 general elections. We're also going to see and to look at how the elections are going to be managed, like the introduction of the E from EC 8A, which is the polling unit level results. This before we used to have a physical copy. Right now, we have the physical copy as well as the e-copy on the beavers. So those are the things we are looking out for. But for our deployment, we the last election in Osun, we deployed 250 observers. But this time, we are deploying 300 observers to all the 30 local governments in the state. And we are using the methodology, which is called the process and result verification for transparency, which will allow us to assess the process of election from the opening of the polls, accreditation and voting, till the counting and sorting of results, until the results are being processed at the polling unit. So this methodology is a systematic methodology that allows us to sample randomly across all the 30 states to give a representative sample of each state, depending on the number of polling units and the number of registered voters within the state. So at the end of the whole process, we'll be able to verify the outcome of the elections after the INEC has announced their results. So for us, we caught out, like, we are everywhere across all the states to do that, yes.
Oh, okay. I wanted to get you very correctly when you were speaking. You said 300, that's 300 per local government.
No, 300 across the 30 local governments.
Across the 30 local government, okay.
Yes, different numbers. We sampled, and so it's a representative of all the polling units and the registered voters across the state. So it's divided based on the number of polling units per local government. So for example, Osogbo has about 22 samples because they have plenty of polling units. The number of people in Osogbo is more than other local governments. For example, Ifedayo has just 5 samples because they have little. So, but in total, it's representative of all the 30 local governments.
Oh, okay. I still have so many questions for you, right, Tonia? But let me move on to the representative of the REC right there on the call. So are you there?
Yes,
okay, I'd like to ask you, I know that this particular election means so much, to the people of Osun State. And despite all the chaos that we have been seeing, emerging from the state, you are definitely assuring the people that there will be a good, credible election. Now, the big question that people are asking is their vote going to count? Is INEC going to deliver an election that is going to make their votes count? Because this is one thing that people are concerned about, their vote counting, vote buying, all of these issues that comes up when it comes to election. Is INEC ready to deal with all of these issues in this particular election? Is their vote going to count?
Thank you very much. I am assuring the people of us to say that there is election and the entire Nigeria that their vote counts. So there are devices in place to ensure the credibility of the election as we are deploying levers for accreditation, no manual accreditation. So, and with that, there can be multiple votes. Then, also regarding the vote buying, the actual agencies, they are on ground to arrest whoever they want to engage in vote buying or selling anywhere during the election. So, as far as we are concerned, we are telling people to vote, they are voting. They should not go about them and vote for the candidate of their choice because they are vote counts.
All right. Are there provisions for persons living with disability to make the process seamless for them?
Thank you very much. There are provisions. We have ballots for people with eye impairment, okay. And there are some sign interpreters, sign language interpreters are going to be deployed to some places. This is the work of a CSO, right? So they are deploying the sign language interpreters to at least 25 places where there are people with ear impairment. So, and for those that are using crutches or so they are, most of our polling units are accessible to people with disability.
Okay.
Or when they get to the polling units, if they are the cubicle will be stepped down for them to be able to cast their vote so that there will be no interference.
Okay. And well, we look forward to having all of these things, seeing all of these things, in full on Saturday. We also look forward to seeing that materials get in time in the morning and votes starts on schedule. Is that what you're assuring us?
Yes, as far as materials on that day, I'm assuring you that I just go of Nigeria that our men, personnel and material will be at the polling unit waiting for the voters that day. Because tomorrow, even the election, material will have been deployed to relax. So then by around 7 a.m. tomorrow, Saturday, men and material will have been at the polling units waiting for the voters.
Mm.
So there's no cause for alarm, and it's going to be seamless.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this evening to have this conversation. We do hope, we do wish you all a successful preparation and a great election come Saturday. Thank you so much. All right. So I will move over to Tonia, which of course is still on the line, program lead for Yiaga Africa. Tonia, are you there?
I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with you.
You've heard what the representative of the REC said, right, in terms of preparation for the elections. And one of the things I also like to do for balance is great to have some of these questions with you because you're on ground there, the team is on ground there, you're getting reports, you're seeing things firsthand, and you can be able to say if what the INEC is saying is exactly what is on ground and see how we can compare past election, present election, and see how we can affect our future election, which is the ultimate 2027, the much anticipated election. You will definitely agree with me on that. So based off of what the representative said a few minutes ago, would you agree with INEC's preparedness from what you're seeing?
So for us at Yiaga Africa, we deployed long-term observers ahead of the election for the past June.
Okay.
And we have been following up the activities of INEC and other stakeholders. But particularly with INEC, we have seen that the timeline of activities they have rolled out, they have been following from the registration of voters to the distribution of PVCs to stakeholders engagement and voter sensitization. And until last week, they have trained their ad hoc staff. And this week, they started the distribution of sensitive material. By tomorrow, I'm sure the materials will get to the racks and at the world level. And so for us, we have been following and also working in partnership with INEC, and hopefully we believe that the election will go smoothly. But another thing that I will use the opportunity to also appeal to INEC, the part where these materials are going to be transported through the National Union of Road Transport Workers. I hope they are in good place and have good relationship and also have a good MOU, that these people will not sabotage their efforts tomorrow and will be able to move on time and deliver these items, because the process is going depends solely on the arrival of these materials on time. And so hopefully for us, we are confident that INEC, the process will go well, but we also hope that INEC will carry on their own tax in respect to any distribution of materials to the people in need.
All right. I like us to talk about something that maybe some persons might want to mention. Now, in 2022, there were pockets, I wouldn't use the word pockets, of vote buying, that was noticed and observed, in the election, right? I'm sure probably Yiaga Africa also captured that in their reports. So what tactics, of inducement, are you guys tracking this time around when it comes to local governments? Which local government are you having on your watch list to say, okay, we are watching this particular local government, our eye is over here, or we're going to use this method to discover this and this based off of our report in 2022?
Yes, so especially our first pre-election observation report showed some cases where citizens were given some kind of materials in different forms. And we also tracked a situation where in some months before our observation began, some people in the community to collect VIN of some people, and that's the voter identification number on the voter's card of citizens. And after some, those people returned back and transferred, is it 10,000 naira to those people that they collected their VIN. So it could be anything, but those, we also see that as a form of inducement. Then you see some other organizations that or groups within communities that have been gathered and given food. In some places we saw where they gave beans and other food items. And so such things we consider that as vote buying. But in our advocacy, voter sensitization, while we went out and engaged with different stakeholders, we have continually tried to encourage citizens to stay away from selling their votes, because the life that they will have for the next 4 years is more than whatever it is that they're going to get, and that they should always consider the betterment of their community and their state, rather than the immediate benefit that they will get from the political parties.
Okay. Yeah, so Tonia, something really, really interesting is the fact that I think I was watching a video a few days ago where a man was actively, defending vote buying, saying that people know who they're supposed to vote in terms of who is going to work. So what is the difference if you just say, okay, take this and take care of yourself and still vote for me? And that he doesn't see anything wrong with giving people money. Of course, as you can see in those videos, people sharing food items, people sharing money, people doing all of this. And someone will say, oh, there is hunger in the land. Our politicians have weaponized, the tool of hunger so that it favors them during the election. I also want to know if, as a group, you believe in that poverty have been weaponized. And so as we draw towards the election, this weapon that has been created is now being used to get what they want from the people. And then also, do you think that these people really, really care about the fact that they are speaking about their future? So whatever I take, I'm not going to vote for you. I mean, you and I know very well that the human psychology sometimes doesn't work that way.
That's the challenge, is that the citizens are actually hungry. The economy is actually hitting hard on the citizens. And people also think that they only engage with the government when it is time for elections. And they don't know that there are several ways that they can engage and demand for accountability from the people they have voted for. And so they have resulted to their faith that they cannot get anything from these people. Only when these people are looking for their votes that they come, to give them whatever it is. But that's why we, the civil society organization, step in. We use this opportunity to help, explain to the citizens and build their confidence in the fact that there are different ways that they can actually engage the government and demand accountability and have their representative who they are voting for to do whatever is in favor of the people. But like you rightly say, these people, when they come during the campaign period, they come to the people, they sit with the people, they eat with the people. That's the only time these people see them. And then tomorrow, they are all gone when they have gotten elected into the office. And so these people, they know how to act beyond that level. And so for us, we continue to encourage them and tell them that there is more, and there are different ways that they can engage. And then also on election day, they can also watch that their vote really counts, in the sense that after they have voted, they have the opportunity to stay and protect their vote beyond just voting and going home. And so whoever, because when we go to them and tell them that, you can actually vote without selling your vote, and they say their vote don't count anyway. So whatever it is, they do with it. But there are several ways that they can actually protect their vote and have their vote counted, which is that they can vote, stay, and conduct themselves in an orderly manner, and watch the process to the end of the elections at their polling unit until the results have been posted and transmitted to portal, to the IRF portal, as well as to the next point of collation before they leave. And so it is for us to continue to sensitize the citizen and educate them on the need to not sell their votes, and that their future is more than the immediate benefit that they are going to get. And whatever 5,000 that they get at the moment does not or cannot actually be sustainable. And when they know that their vote is actually their power, and they are strong on the point that they will not sell their vote, I'm sure that the political parties will also keep their money to themselves and rather engage in an issue-based campaign to actually speak to the minds of the citizens to win their votes to themselves.
All right, let's start talk about technology as we get set to wrap up the conversation. Let's talk about technology. After 2023 election, the failure of the IRF, Nigerians lost trust, in the process. And if results are not uploaded, at the polling unit in real time, come 15th, what should the voters, what should they do? And what will Yiaga, how will Yiaga respond to something like that?
Okay, so the new Electoral Act has made the transmission of election results from the polling unit mandatory. So it's now for every polling unit where election happens, the result from that place will be transmitted to the next point of collation, as well as uploaded into the portal. And so for us, in our observation, one of the things we are looking at is to look and make sure that in every of the polling units, the presiding officer concludes the process by sending uploading the results into the IRF. And one of the initiatives of Yiaga Africa that we're also deploying for this election is our election results analysis dashboard. So this is a dashboard for citizens to you can view the results in near time, because we are going to have a set of data clerks that will be downloading this result that are being transmitted into the IRF to impute it, and then we'll be given a live update of the result. Because now, every polling unit, the elections, the results are mandated to come to the IRF. So Yiaga Africa is watching every polling unit in Osun State, and the result will be put in our election result analysis dashboard for all citizens of Osun State to see. So there are different ways we are trying to see how we can safeguard the election results in this coming election on Saturday. And so I will invite everyone of the Osun people to look out for the Yiaga Africa election result analysis dashboard, which is in conjunction with the Channels Television on Saturday.
Okay, let's now run very quickly. I hope that you're putting measures in place to protect your observers. Yeah, well, even though the INEC rep said that there's security, you know, thousands of policemen and military officers deployed and the likes, but I hope that you're seeing that on ground in terms of security for your observers and the team and the women and children, which of course is always a priority when it comes to processes like this, women and children. We always look out for them. I hope you're having enough security for your observers and the women and children.
Yeah, so for us, our observers, remember, we sampled these polling units where we are observing randomly. And one thing we did was to recruit our observers from the polling units they are registered to vote, which means whether they work for Yiaga Africa or not, they are supposed to be at that polling unit on election day. And then it's within their environment. They know almost everybody at the polling unit. It is in their community. That is where they live. That's where they vote.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's one form of, security to say that they understand the environment. If anything happens, they can easily, find their way. But for those of us at the capital of Osun State, Yiaga Africa is setting up a data center alongside the EU Election Observation Corps at Adolat, Togo Town, and we have enough security on grounds that to make sure that we are well protected.
All right, thank you so much, Tonia. Now, finally, this is the last, major off-cycle election before 2027, which Nigerians are really, really focused on. And the success of Osun State election is going to be a success for INEC as to 2027. What would you say to restore public confidence, right? How would you grade INEC so far? I know that your major grade will be after the election, but for now, how would you grade INEC so far?
So after the signing of the last electoral act, Ekiti election was the first election, but most of the provisions of the new act were not implemented. For example, there was the downloadable PVC was not used. The E from EC8A was also not used. From now in Ekiti, in Osun, the INEC has assured us that they will be deploying the E from EC8A, as well as citizens will be coming with their downloadable PVCs, and they will be used and they'll be accredited on election day. It is very important because in less than 5 months, we are going into the general election. So citizens are looking out to see how INEC will perform in this Osun election, how this new provision is going to be fully implemented. Then we will look at the issues, if there are any challenges and learning that they can be fixed before the general election. So everyone is hopeful and looking forward. Osun is a model. Osun is a pilot study for the general election, and hopefully we are confident, or we hope that INEC will perform perfectly and we will not have issues. And if there are any, be able to fix them before 2027 general elections. All
right. Someone said Osun election is a major pilot copy for INEC's grade for 2027. All right. Thank you so much, Tonia Onda, for joining us this evening and having a very great, insightful conversation. It was such a delight. Thank you so much. And we wish you and the team a successful one over there in Osun State.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so that was Tonia Onda, Program Lead Democracy, Yiaga Africa, joining us to have a conversation on what she's observed when it comes to the election over there in Osun State. This is a very important election, and I'm definitely sure that you've gotten a thing or two right here on the show. Just to let you know that Rapid TV will be live right in Osun State, and so in case you are looking for where to follow the updates, come Saturday, Rapid TV is here for you, because we're going to be here in the morning down to election results announcement and winner announcement to give you all of the updates. So you do not have to miss it for any reason. Our website, our social platform, everything is going to be active. Now, before we wrap up the show today, let's look at our electoral word for today, which is electoral integrity. Now, electoral integrity refers to the extent to which an election is conducted in accordance with democratic principles and the rules governing the electoral process. It covers everything from voter registration and the conduct of political parties to voting, counting, collation, and the announcement of results. In simple terms, an election is not only about who wins, it's also about whether the process that produced the winner was credible, transparent, and respected the choices of voters. And that is our electoral word for today. Thank you so much, guys. And that is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Road to 2027. As Osun prepares for Saturday, the attention now shifts from campaigns to the ballot box. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Join us next time for another conversation as we continue the journey to 2027. I'll see you on Thursday.